What's going on, everyone? Check out what's coming up this week on Legacies.
Oh, my love for hash code, Dave.
This is, if not the best, top 3 cannabis products I've ever tried in my life.
Derrick, his name was Blind Derrick.
Okay.
And he got high to the point where he thought he could see. I was...
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Legacies. I'm your host, Tom Ritchie, joined by Wesley, the Wizard Bowles. I need to get you a hat or a shirt that says the Wizard, especially with all the secret stuff we're doing right now.
Can the Wizard's jacket be cooled? Can it be like, can we get some AC up in this bitch?
It's funny we were joking. Everyone's gonna think all we do is bitch about the weather. And it's hot as fuck.
I'm bitching today. It's disgusting down here in Burlington, down by the lake. I feel like it's swimming through the air. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, who were we talking with yesterday? They're in Duncan as well. Kirk Tousaw. Right? And he's in that Mediterranean area. When we told him what the temperature and the humidity was, he's like, "Oh my god, yeah, there's a heat wave coming through." I don't know if I like it.
Yeah, it's days like today where it's crazy to say I miss Texas because you just don't get the humidity, and it's just I get in the shade and I'm all right. But
sounding old, we're sounding even older now. It's not the heat; it's the humidity. But it's true. I've never been to Texas, never been to Arizona. Apparently, a lot of people move to Arizona to escape allergy season.
I went on a road trip a couple years ago when I first moved back from Texas to Canada with my buddy Josh, and we did. Part of the road trip was down there in Arizona down through Utah into Arizona. And yeah, it was super hot. We went like peak summer, but it was super dry. But yeah, I could see why people would go there for allergy season.
Yeah. Let's go for a hike in 110 degrees. That Fahrenheit, that must fuck you up because you've lived in the US, you've lived over England.
I prefer Fahrenheit for like outdoor temperatures.
Yeah.
Even for the house on the thermostat.
The house I have to set, and that's the problem. Like, so when I grew up, we were right in that weird limbo stage of moving from metric or imperial to metric systems, right? And so it was all standard, right? Your half inch, your foot, your pounds, and then we move into the metric, and we're kilos, and we're milliliters, and we're millimeters, and so if you tell me outside, if we're talking about outside temperatures, I need it in Celsius for some reason. I have no idea why. But inside, I know what to set my thermostat to by Fahrenheit. It's so fucked. I have no idea.
Yeah, to me, it's crazy because if you like the difference between and these temperatures aren't direct relations, but a 67 to like a 69 versus a 21 to a 23, those are very big differences, right?
Huge.
Like those swings. And I just find it more granular and especially for the thermostats, like Fahrenheit's the way to go.
Oh yeah, I have to do it that way. And you got me all on this Ecobee. I'm all for those that don't know, Wes ran all of Ecobee support way back. And it's still a wizard when it comes to understanding that. But I think it was back in the Ample days, he got me convinced that I needed smart home monitoring. And now I've got Ecobee. So I'm always on my fucking app adjusting shit. Yeah. One more thing to play around.
Well, that was the big thing when we did support there, was that all of a sudden people had access to their thermostat on their phone. Yeah. So they were calling in about questions that they never had before in their life about their thermostat, right? They were calling in going, why is it my house suddenly getting cold enough? It's got to be this thermostat. And it's like, no, you're noticing things because you're looking at this thermostat every 2 seconds.
Constantly,
all this data,
sensors in different rooms, and it's monitoring if you're there or away. And it's very technical. It's very technical, people. Wes, I know you're not, into this scene, but the fucking Oilers pulled it off last night, baby.
Hey,
you haven't been following any of it, have you? Have you been following any of it?
I haven't been following anything, but I'll tell you what, I'll be into the scene just for today if I can go lay on an ice rink. I'll just give it that much, right?
I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. I am an Oilers fan right behind Vancouver Canucks. But for me, it's, yes, of course, I'd love to see the Oilers win, but I want that cup back in Canada. And I get it, you know, the vast majority of the team probably are not Canadians, but we attach to that. So beautiful game though. They were down. So to bring you up to speed, Panthers had won 3 games in a row, right? Out of a series 7, you know this
Okay.
part. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
And then so they in all 3 games, you know, so they play 2 games Florida, then they're back, right? And they were back for 2 games in Edmonton. Panthers won the 3rd game, first game home game back in Edmonton. And then the 4th game, it's like the Oilers grabbed them by the back of the fucking shirt and walked them right out the door. 8-1 fucking victory. And I mean,
Oh my
just
God.
crushed them. So to understand the stats of this, I didn't know this. My son brought me up to speed. The Panthers, they've won 67 of 71 fucking games, man. Like they are almost
That's impressive.
untouchable, right? And you could tell. And as soon as Ashton told me about that, I'm like watching their technical skills on the ice, and you know they just were not giving the Oilers a break. And then game 4, they fucking annihilated them. And then so now they're back. Last night they were back to Florida for game 5. No team in a series, Stanley Cup series, has ever won an away game 5 ever. And the Oilers fucking won again. So now it's back in Edmonton Friday. I'm excited. I know Tyler's excited over at Orgenics. I could just imagine. But we need to see this. I mean, if they could tie up the series 3-3, then it's anyone's game now.
And the last game, 7 would be where? Home or away?
No, I think. Wait, so game 6, if they win at Edmonton, they'll play in Florida. I think so. It'll be an away. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a controversial question. Do you think that 8-1 victory was the fact that maybe the Panthers got a little like complacent in that, we
No,
got
I
this
don't
shit
think
locked?
so.
No,
No,
it
because
wasn't.
so the Oilers have had 2 shorthanded goals on them, and it fucking rocks them. When it almost seems, I said this to Tanya last night. I'm like, it seems like when the Panthers think they're doing really well, and then they get a fucking uppercut from the Oilers, they just back right off. It's like they become a different team. But again, the Panthers are very technical. The way they play, there's never an open spot on the ice. They're always covering their men. They're always fucking back checking. They do everything by the book. And it seemed like the Oilers got almost, we're just going to play some Canadian hockey and we're going to fuck with you. And you're not going to know where we're going to be. And you're not going to know where the passes are going to be. And I kept joking with Ashton saying, where the fuck is McDavid? Like, no, I shouldn't say it like that because McDavid is a fucking all-star. I mean, he's probably one of the best in the league. He's certainly the best skater in the league. But I didn't realize he was he's right up with Gretzky right now in a playoff series for points. And if it goes 2 more games, chances are he's going to pass most of Gretzky's records. But anyways, he's carrying that team with assists right now. It's fucking crazy. And I know you don't care so much, but there's a lot of the audience, I think, that does. Anyways, it's good hockey. For me, it's just good hockey. I'm not super loyal to teams. I don't watch it every week. I don't watch, I'm not cheering from the fucking couch. I just love good hockey, especially World Juniors. When World Juniors come, it's incredible.
Yeah, all the TVs in this house right now are kind of locked up with the Euros.
Yeah, I
soccer.
bet.
That's
I bet.
all.
Yeah. I bet. I'll add one other thing, and it was kind of a special event last night for me. So you remember we were at Grow Up, and we finally got to meet Kevin Varner, Royal Harvest, face to face, big hugs. Spent some time with them, and Kevin had a personal bag with him of his own cannabis, and it was frosted fruitcake. And I'm like, hey, you got anything? And he's like, oh, I got something special for you. So he opens his bag, and you remember this. He handed me a handful of buds, right? Just some nugs, beautiful nugs. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this, right? So I don't remember what I did with it. I think I just kind of threw it loosely in my man purse, my MERS. And when I got home, I put it in a previous pouch I had that was empty. No Boveda pack, nothing. How long ago was that? 2, 3 weeks? 3 weeks?
It's got to be 3, maybe going on 4. Yeah.
4 weeks. So I had completely forgot. We get a lot of samples. We've got a lot of our own stuff that we try. We hunt and source it. We do whatever we can. So we've got no shortage of cannabis. Let's just say that. And last night I came across the pouch and I'm like, what the fuck? I thought I finished this. And then it dawned on me that, oh, wait a second. No, this is Kevin's. So I got super excited right away. Busted it up, rolled a big joint. Dude, we've never done a live high flyer approved. And I know you haven't tried it, and I know the rest of the team hasn't tried it. And we generally like to do that. But I can assure you, this is, if not the best, top 3 cannabis products I've ever tried in my life. In my life.
Bold.
And when I'm like, wait, it's frosted fruitcake. It's frosted fruitcake. So I did a quick Google search, and I had messaged Kevin pretty much within 20 minutes, maybe even sooner. And I was so couch locked for a few minutes, I just couldn't respond. So Kevin, I know I owe you an answer if you do happen to catch this. Dude, I couldn't operate anything technical at the time. And I did not, for the record, smoke the entire joint. If you can find frosted fruitcake, I can't advocate for trying it, but just know that I like it. High flyer approved, 100%. Kevin, holy fuck, crazy.
So if you're looking for it here, would people be looking for they'd be looking for BC Black, would they not? Or is
It
it
was under BC Black. There's some confusion there because I saw some listings. Obviously, when you use these product finders, there's some confusion, and I need to confirm this with Kevin, but it was showing up under, like, so there's BC Black, and I know that they had supply agreements at one point in time, but there's something under dealer. I don't understand it. But if you can find frosted fruitcake, it needs to say Royal Harvest. One, I'm not saying he's the only one that does it, but if you can get your hands on frosted fruitcake by Royal Harvest, you will not be disappointed. And know that it is Kevin's. If it has a Royal Harvest logo on it, it's Kevin's. If it's something else with his brand on it, because I was confused. I don't know what's going on there. But anyways, I can't say try it. Don't try it. Let's
so was it what was it like flavor profile? What this
it was like it was like the smell. So, and here's the thing, right? I didn't store it with a Boveda pack. I didn't do so. It's properly flushed. It's properly cured and dried. It was pristine bud still. It was perfect. It smelt like Fruit Loops. It's like that candy. Do you know what I mean? Right? If anyone's ever
Yep.
tried Fruit Loops,
Yep.
you know exactly what I mean. But the burn, there was no harshness. It was white ash, white smoke, beautiful resin ring. Like it was, and I'm not the best joint roller in the world. And I'm thinking, oh, but this made me look good. Like it burned perfect, man. So Kevin, great job, man. I've tried the gelato. It was fantastic as well, but wow. Incredible stuff. Very,
I guess
very honored to have tried that.
I guess we shouldn't be surprised. I mean, the way the guy talks about his craft and what he does, it's like, it's like
Yeah.
it's his firstborn child, and
I
clearly
know.
it comes out in it. So.
I think his blood does run green. I really do. Everything about him is craft cannabis and quality. So I can't say enough about it. It's just incredible. So make sure that when you edit this, throw that beautiful high flyer
I'll,
approved on that little spot there.
I'll throw the stamp on there. I do have one little unrelated question for you, though.
Yeah.
You ever going to take down the dick snail behind you, or
No,
is it,
I need to name him. Actually, you know what's funny is my oldest daughter. I think it was even last week after we were done in the studio. She was in and she walked by and she goes, "What the heck?" She goes, "Come on." I think we need to name him. Like, is Dickie too easy?
is Ian too easy? No, I'm just kidding. I love you.
Yeah,
I love you, Ian.
Censored edibles. It was funny because I had a buddy over on, I forget, it was the last game. I don't remember what it was. And I had the big treats or Big Pete's treats, and then so I gave him a cookie, and I'm like, "Let me know." He's like, "That's the best fucking cookie you've ever had." He goes, I go, "Well, the difference is it's made with canna butter." And then so I went and grabbed a pouch of the censored edibles, and gave him a penis. And he didn't realize until he's just about to. So we need to name him maybe Dickie.
Just call him Richard.
I've got another Funko Pop or whatever the hell they are. I'm gonna have to put that out. Lauren got me Freddie Mercury from Flash Gordon. But it's bigger, so now I need to figure out where to put that.
Oh,
That's
nice.
Father's Day. The kids didn't forget Father's Day, by the way. You remember last week?
No,
I'm like,
they do love you.
they do love
you.
me. Actually, I'll say this. Lauren got a card, like a blank card, and wrote like just this really beautiful message to me, and I cried. Like she's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is sweet. This is sweet." But did you hear the news coming out of Maryland? I don't want to get this wrong, and I hope I don't fuck anything up by looking this up real quick. So Maryland governor Wes Moore, another Wes. Apparently, if your name Wes, you do some really cool shit and really good stuff. Wes Moore pardoned 175,000 marijuana convictions. That's fucking massive. I don't know if it's a political play, but it shouldn't be when you look at like the Last Prisoner Project and some of this, really good things they have going on in the US and the advocacy and the, petitioning, what's going on. But 175,000 pardons. Crazy.
And were these pardons like the like lower level?
I think they're like
misdemeanor.
misdemeanor possession, but these charges shouldn't exist, right? Especially in these states that are legalizing cannabis. Like, and it's no different
Yeah,
than Canada.
when you're walking into stores and they look like Apple stores, and people are still in prison for it.
That really, really bothers me. And I think considering we have a platform and it continues to grow, we should be doing some more advocacy in this space because this is going on in Canada as well. It's not just in the US. Anyway, so good job, Wes Moore. If your name Wes, you do good stuff. What I want to talk about that very super secret project that we've got going on, but I'm not going to just yet. Not just yet.
Why? I don't get you. You always want to talk about this.
I want to because it's exciting stuff. I have to talk about it. I'm not going to yet though. I'll keep my mouth shut. The nice thing is this isn't live, so even if I did, you could edit it out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna blur the whole thing and just put beeps over everything. It'll be 2 minutes of completely unusable sections.
Beep, bop, beep, beep. And I can't wait till that launches. Beep, beep, beep. What's going on with Indiva? You mentioned something, I think, yesterday. I know that there was some news about it. I can't read everything. CCAA or creditor protection.
Filing for creditor protection.
And they're out of London, Ontario. I remember, smaller facility, great team, obviously big ambitions. But they were involved with Sundial at one point.
Yes, Sundial was a major investor in Indiva.
Okay.
For anyone who's not familiar with who Indiva is, it's your pearls, so your pearls edibles, your Bang chocolates if you're used to those as well. There's a few other brands under them as well, but they're big, huge in the edible category for those. And part of me wonders with the pricing on those pearls and on those Bang chocolates compared to some of the other edibles in the market. I'm wondering, like, is it a case of you kind of done this to yourself with
what is the pricing?
Like,
is it lower? Like, what are the price points? $4?
I think the MSRP on them is usually like $5.50, but most times in stores these things are on sale for like $4.95, just under the $5 mark, especially those Bang chocolates. And I'm like, you got to be, by the time you've paid for your excise tax, the packaging, the production, like you can't, the margins on those have to be absolutely horrendous. And they're obviously doing it. There's a volume play there, right? They're doing it based on volume, but I think
this is why we need to see the reform in the packaging, especially in edibles. Hopefully this will help. I mean, it's not pearls. I haven't tried pearls. I think you've tried pearls.
I thoroughly enjoy pearls. Like I like that they've got the different flavors also have different combinations of THC and CBD or CBN and they've got a variant for every type of every time of day, really. And they're great. Their flavors are awesome. They're always consistent, and they're cheap too, right? So I enjoy them, but
I haven't tried them. I think I've tried the Bang chocolate, which was good, but if it's one of the best sellers, I know that when we've looked at some of the data across the different provinces, that they certainly are within the top of the categories, especially for gummies. But it can't be, you're putting 10 or 5, 5 gummies in each. So at least it's 5 in these ones, but they've got a small plastic container. I think I've seen them in. It's, we need to increase those limits. Imagine their margins would drastically shift if able to put in 10, 20, 40. I don't know. Hopefully nothing happens with them and they can figure out some sort of resolution and be able to move forward on it. But I don't know. It's not uncommon in this industry. That's the thing. Definitely looking forward. So I get a reminder every once in a while. So July's right around dude, fucking, when is summer? Official summer is like
we talked about this, and I don't know. The groundhog hasn't told me, so
it feels like it's now. I mean, the beaver, doesn't the beaver come out of a log somewhere? But summer, we know in the midst of summer, 420 affair. is happening, which is going to be a wicked event that is happening in Etobicoke and put on by VIP Media Group, which is Jazz Samra, which we're close with. Wicked event, completely different, right? So obviously there will be brand presence there, free to retailers to be able to come. And I think he puts on like, there's like buffet and drinks and like you name it, like live band.
The banquet hall where this is going to be happening. It's that inside of that banquet hall is a classy joint. Yeah,
it's bougie. It is very nice. Yeah. And what? We can't forget. We've seen a lot of the previews. Astro Boy's launching and will be, I think, present. So we'll see where the UFO lands. I don't know. Looking forward to that. July 18th. I think there's some other ones coming up. We'll keep everyone, up to speed, but we'll be there. We hope to see as many brands as possible there, and retailers. It's free retailers. No reason not to attend.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, what else? I'm looking forward to today's guest. So we've got Amy Brown, aka Amy Anonymous. I've known Amy in some capacity for quite some time. We've obviously gotten a lot closer with High Flyer Media, Hash Corporation, her work over there, the big supporter for us, but long time advocate, very vocal. Apparently, some celebs have her on speed dial when it comes to, understanding the crazy world of cannabis, especially in Canada. So we'll have her on. I'm looking forward to that because it's, when you talk about individuals that have a legacy, I mean, we're going back, I think, early 2000s. And then, she's been across multiple different avenues in this industry. So we'll see. We'll see where that story goes.
Yeah, it's going to be great too. Sometimes we have guests who, they need a bit to get talking, right? They need a bit to get comfortable and come in. And I think Amy's going to have no problem.
Oh no,
no problem with that. She's not afraid of the camera. I don't think so.
No.
It's going to be good.
It'll be really good. Okay. Do we have anything else that we want to cover? The biggest one for me was just ensuring that you were up to speed on where the Oilers were.
I can sleep safely now.
You can sleep. You might be able to with all the heat. Cooking up a batch of ball gravy every night.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it gets hot, and I have to, like, the cold air return in the studio is so fucking loud. It sounds like a turbine, like a jet turbine. So I have that shut off, and it's getting hot. We need. Yeah. Do we have any makeup, wardrobe, please? Anyways, so we'll take a short break, and when we get back, Amy Anonymous. Gonna be crazy. Hey friends, guess what? It's almost t-shirt season. Are you ready? You should be rocking your favorite brand. Head on over to thehighflyer.ca and check out all the licensed cannabis brand swag that we've got available. From Odo to Victoria Cannabis Company, Smoker Farms, Royal Harvest, the list goes on, and there's more coming on every single week. Check it out, add it to your cart, and be prepped. Sun's out, guns out. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're joined by Amy Brown, aka Amy Anonymous. For those that don't know, I mean, you must be living under a fucking rock. Oops, I'm not allowed to swear, even though Amy's been on SwearNet. Amy, no fucking swearing.
Fuck, I'm gonna try not to. I told you.
If there's ever been someone with a legacy to share the story of, it's Amy. Amy, you've been in the cannabis industry for a long time.
I feel like a grandma in the industry at this point. Kids are having kids.
But I mean, we can go through. Let's see how good my memory is. I've got some cheat sheets here because there's so much. So way back, milk and cookies and cannabis for the homeless. Have you talked about that in forever? Did I dig that out?
Well, I do this every year. This year will be this will be the 14th year.
Wow.
That our cannabis community has came together to create milk and cookies and cannabis for the less fortunate.
So cool. So cool.
We don't.
Yeah. And so work with Calm, SwearNet, man, Can Do. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can Do. Yeah. Which was old days Weed Me, something to do with that. And now Hashco.
Weed MD.
Sorry, Weed Me, Weed MD. Jeez, see, Wes and I used to say when we were at Ample,
we had that trouble at Ample.
It was all the time. It was all the time. And we joked and said that we think in the early days, 2017, they really just, all these LPs were getting cannabis refrigerator magnets, like the poetry, and moving them around. So it was like green this, weed this.
It's so true, Dr. Green. Like,
Yeah.
if it's just anything, you're the magnet. We exist. The
Yeah,
legalization's
exactly.
coming.
Yeah, but now you're with the Hash Corporation. I remember the day we were started working together, and I was filling out our agreement and putting the Hash Corporation on it. It was so fucking cool. I love that. But you've been a huge supporter of ours right from the get-go, very beginning, and we appreciate that.
Oh,
Even when it
yeah.
was prior to Legacy's podcast, a lot of people are, a podcast, another fucking podcast. Like, come on. But not you. You were like, yeah, do it.
I'm a supporter. Like, I love watching people win,
Yeah.
especially in this space. So, because this is not an easy space to win in. Like, let's
It's
be
tough.
real.
It's tough.
it's-
And for us, it's more the merrier. I mean, there's different strokes for different folks, right? And, there's podcasts that cater to every single niche within this industry. And we wanted to be able to, for us anyways, showcase the stories behind legacies, and which is why you're here. And we're going to get to Hashco and what's going on there, and some of Chris's crazy work. We love Chris.
He's a wild one.
Yeah, he is for sure. But really, like, let's go back and understand, we don't need to go back necessarily. I do want everyone to understand your foray, even though you were a cannabis consumer recreationally. I'd like those in our audience to understand your foray into it. So car accident, walk us through some of that, because like many, opioids to the rescue, but not really.
Not at all. They
Yeah.
ruined my life. Opioids did. So what happened was I hate the word recreational cannabis use. I'm not playing soccer.
Yeah.
I'm just smoking weed.
Right.
Out of smoking blunt. So like, I'm an adult using cannabis. I don't recreationally drink either. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say adult use.
Right. Okay.
So as an adult, actually I was a teen, but whatever. As a young adult.
Weren't we all?
Exactly. I used cannabis. I used cannabis throughout my day. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I didn't see any medical benefits from it. I want to be real with you. I didn't see any medical benefits when I was a young person using cannabis. I was having I was getting high. I was thinking, went the little green frog. Like, I was chilling with my friends. I was having the best time. I really did sing that song a lot. So, anyway, that's a whole other story. So I used cannabis like that until I got into a car accident in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
To keep it short, I broke my neck, my pelvis, my wrist, and I didn't think I'd ever walk again. I went through years and years of rehab, and I got addicted to painkillers, unfortunately, and by no fault of my own. I wasn't like, give me painkillers. I took exactly what my doctor prescribed me, how he prescribed it to me. Mm-hmm. But being someone with your body full of metal pieces and in a neck, right, there was a lot. For a very long time. So it took a loved one to tell me that I had an addiction problem. I had no idea. I just was living my life trying to live, after almost dying. So as soon as they told me I did have an addiction problem, I noticed it. Like, I realized it, and I started doing research on how to get off of these pills. And surprisingly, cannabis just kept coming up, and me as like a pothead at the time. And then like,
let's go in. We'll go all in.
So I dove deeper into learning about it, and I realized like, oh fuck, like, but I think, and I just switched right over cold turkey. I used cannabis a lot more. And I also, like, I took it very seriously. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? This was a medicine for me. And once I started doing that and realizing the actual benefit, the pain relief that I did, also anxiety. I had terrible anxiety back then. Mm-hmm. My best friend passed away beside me in this accident, and it was just years of, so there was a lot of mental issues going on, and that cannabis saved my fucking life.
Wow.
Like, I am who I am today because of cannabis. I am so thankful for this plant. Man. So that's why I'm so big on telling people about it.
Yeah.
So I just started using cannabis. I started eating it. I'm going to be real with you. I had a child. I still have him. He's 17 now. But I had him at the time. But my kid was maybe, when my kid was a baby, I didn't want to be at the park smoking. And I thought that was like really like, ew, it's not like a good look for a new mom. Now I wouldn't look any different. I'd be like, there it goes. Like, I'm in my head. I just didn't feel right about it. And because of the stigma attached to cannabis, let's be real. So I baked a lot. I started baking, and I was eating edibles. And then from there, I just started baking for other people and then teaching other people how to bake.
Yeah.
And do you want me to continue? Because
Yeah.
it's
So,
so
and I think that's what's interesting is that you've been able to shine a light on cannabis and the advocacy behind it. And those, I mean, you're quick to share your story, and everyone wants to listen. You're very energetic about it, which we love. But I think that, for individuals, like going back, you talk about you didn't want to smoke a joint, at the park. I mean, depending where
Isn't
you
that
were in this
weird?
country, you could almost get away with shooting up
Right?
over smoking a joint.
Right. And that's so true. And the stigma attached to cannabis was so real. So my goal, especially as a new mom and someone who was I got goosebumps talking about this, 100% believes in this plant because of what it's doing to me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell the world, and that's really what I did.
Right.
I went about it every way I could, every social media channel. I started making videos with Sarah Sunday.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
a guy named Brendan, and they were actually on a website called Buzzed Bud.
Okay.
Buzzbud.
Buzz
I think
buds.
that's
That's
what
it.
it
Yeah.
was. Buzzbud.
Yeah.
And it was just videos of my hands cooking and doing stuff, and that's how the name Anonymous came about. Because it was just my hands. So at the time,
Right.
I was anonymous. At that point, I wasn't licensed. I didn't have a cannabis license. So as soon as I got my license, it was just Amy Anonymous. It was me. But before that, having a new child and what I had to be safe.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. So I started making baking videos and doing baking classes, and then I also, before that, I worked for Canada's first Eastern Canada's first dispensary, called Calm. Now Calm was a great thing for our city.
And what city? Sorry, what city was that?
For Toronto.
That was Toronto, right? Yeah.
Calm was an amazing thing for our city. Although me and the owner don't see eye to eye and have not for many years, I have to give it to him. He really was a visionary in that category. He opened a place where sick people could come and access medicine.
Right.
And in hindsight, looking back, the prices were quite steep and so on and so forth. But look, it was the only thing available at the time.
Right. Right.
So it was a beautiful thing that people who were suffering from Parkinson's, from MS, from HIV, from cancer could come and feel empowered.
Yeah. Calm. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. But Calm, this is bringing back something. So Calm was very focused on medical marijuana. Even to the point where helping you get an MMAR if you needed it, or a prescription, because in those days it was still a prescription. Now we talk about membership sign up, that sort of thing, but very focused in the medical side. And there was a big raid or something with Calm, wasn't it? If this is what I'm thinking. Yeah. And it was like, everyone was like, even those that were against cannabis at the time were still looking at this going, hold on, this is medicinal. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
So you can actually Google the raids. We put a video up of the Calm raids. I believe this was 2010. And what they did is the police came undercover with a fake card to the door.
Oh, fuck.
I believe they ended up punching security in the head at some point. So I know he did a lot. Yeah. And they went right past scooters, like mobility scooters that were parked outside, and just came in. And people who were mobile issues inside just came in and guns out at me. I was in the basement.
Oh my God.
I was in the basement working with Sandra, a fabulous woman who is no longer with us, but she actually taught me the ropes in this. And they came at us, and I thought that I was going to have something bad happen to me. Not that we were not that it was the police, because they didn't identify them.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And, it happened so quickly. As men in jeans came down with guns at your head in a basement.
Yeah.
So what do you think? I've never experienced it.
Right.
When we found out they were police, though, I'd like to say we were upstairs rolling joints on the table before they took us.
Your cops?
You are a
no problem. Let me just finish this blunt here. So where do you say what division you're from?
Basically.
Oh my God.
And I know that they were doing their job.
Yeah.
And some of them were really about doing their job, but others didn't really feel like they were doing the right job. And which, society also viewed it as that, as you could see by the raids. And we had protests after the raids. We were known as, I think it was the Notorious Nine.
Oh.
In the media.
Jeez. Yeah.
I smell
So
a movie
we
deal.
had
I smell a movie deal. Yeah, exactly.
we had such a turnout for our protest outside of outside of police headquarters.
Yeah.
It was, and actually people ended up getting arrested at it too, I believe.
Oh,
Other
wow.
things, cannabis protests get
Yeah,
wild.
yeah.
But it's
Eating
always
hostess
peaceful.
over here.
It's peaceful protesting.
Yeah.
But no, we had 2 raids. The first raid was quite big. They told us we weren't allowed to go back without like on the property without having legal advice or whatever, a legal representative with us. So put a legal representative aside and we open up the next day.
Man,
and that's what happened.
Well, I think that's the thing, right? And what was the lawyer? Because there was a
Ron Marzell.
That's it. That's who I used to get my MMAR. It was through his clinic.
Went through me, just so you know, because I ran that clinic.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah,
so
Marzell
I used to
Law,
run
that was
doctor's clinic.
Yeah.
Through there.
Wow.
Ron Marzell actually had hired me to teach a doctor about cannabis to try to get them signing, and they do to this day. But I did a little sit down with the doctor and taught him all about cannabis and baking and how it works for patients. And we had a couple other people there, a grower, a baker. And that doctor is still signing today. So I used to do a lot of doctor clinics. It was funny. We used to run them out of like the shadiest places.
Yeah, everything they made you feel like you had to go underground and in tunnels, and you had no other option. Yeah, it was crazy.
It was quite wild. I ran a few different doctors' clinics, and it was just to get patients signed because doctors were scared. They were scared. They were being threatened by so I'm told, they were being threatened by their superiors about signing for cannabis and just not knowing enough about it. So why it wasn't a prescription, it was a recommendation for cannabis.
That's
they couldn't necessarily prescribe it.
And so many good doctors in those days. I remember, so I'm friends with Ira Price, Dr. Ira Price. I mean, he was
That's what I was talking about.
Right? So, and he, obviously huge advocate, ER Dr. Hamilton, like he sees opioid crisis day in, day out. And I mean, I got really close with him. Like I loved everything he was doing. And it was started to really bother me that I forget, what is it? Wes, help me out here. Is it the surgeon, the Canadian version, like they're overlords for the medical? Yeah. And maybe it's that. Yeah, I think that's what it is. But they had chastised him multiple times saying, you're making too many recommendations and all this going on. And it wasn't just him. There was so many Dr. Mike Hart, early days, like the same stuff, right?
It's the College of Physicians.
That's it.
And there were many. Actually, Dr. Price, Ira's Mahoney.
He typically would say that, like, if you call him doctor, he's like, come on.
Yeah. He'd be like, what's up?
Yeah, we
and
do
you're
respect,
weird.
though. Yeah.
But no, Ira was actually on, unfortunately, was bamboozled, and on an episode of, I think it was 16 by 9, at this point, the media or the news was trying to figure out how are these people getting signed for cannabis, and they came at Ira hard for it. They did like a whole news segment on the fact that doctors are doing this and they didn't like it, and all he was doing was good. And he kept doing it. And he's doing it to the day.
Yeah.
So like,
he's incredible. What
a
individual.
great guy.
I love everything about him. Even without the cannabis aside, he's one of those genuine, big-hearted people. And you love him from the second you meet him. You love him. He's a great guy.
I totally agree. He is one of my closest friends.
Oh, that's so good.
Ira, that's like Dr. Price. But I absolutely adore him, and I appreciate everything that he has done for us, for this industry, which was a community turned industry.
That's right.
Still community based.
So let's go back to baking for a second. So Amy and I had no idea. So I'm glad, Wes, if anything out of this episode, we've discovered how Amy became Amy Anonymous. I did know about the early days baking videos. I knew that. But at what point, so you get, that pink slip is liberating, isn't it? The MMAR. It's like, look what I can do.
And then
fuck y'all.
Getting that pink slip took the biggest weight off my chest. Remember, I was a new mother.
Right.
First time parent too. I was doing like the second or third where I'm school. I was scared.
Yeah.
I was scared about losing my child. And when we went through the raid, actually, the police asked me about my child.
Oh my God.
By name. What? So that was like, they did. They really tried to scare you with losing your child. And it's, again, reefer madness.
Right.
So as soon as I got licensed, I was a lot more I felt a lot more liberated, and I was not as scared. I've always, though, when my kid was a kid, I always kept him in the background. I didn't
Sure.
want, he's a kid.
Yeah, exactly. You have to protect that.
But
Yeah.
I want to say, though, when our dispensaries were getting shut down, when we started going through all the raids, my son did work at a cannabis expo behind to save our dispensaries booth, and he raised a few $100s.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So yeah.
Cool.
But then he was, I think he was like 10, and that was totally cool. My kid is, he does not use cannabis, but he's pro cannabis use. People who need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just a reflection of your education, right? And it was the same, when I started early days, MMAR, as soon as the kids were old enough to comprehend what was going on, it wasn't a birds and the bees conversation, but we sat down and I'm like, this is cannabis. This is what you hear about cannabis. Here are the facts and the realities about it. And I mean, in those early days, I always mention Ample, but we onboarded 136-ish people in 6 months, and they all needed to know about the cannabis industry. So they were in our education center week over week, and I'm explaining about cannabis and entourage effects and all the stuff that goes on with it, how to grow it, how our operators process it. And I loved that, like teaching about it. So whether it's your kids, whether it's, a colleague. So what happened when Amy is no longer anonymous, right? Because did that format
it just became
change?
Amy not so anonymous.
Right,
Nothing changed at all.
but your video content was your video content though was like everyone was picking it up. Everyone was paying attention.
Well, thank you. The only thing that changed was my face was now.
Right.
Before it was literally just hands, and my nails weren't as nice as they are these days, so it was like short nails, not so good. But then it became, I had a persona as opposed to just hands.
Right.
So that did change, but nothing changed about my attitude.
FYI,
that stays the same.
FYI, we need to remake that video, one of those videos with Tom and you. Just your hands. We're gonna remake them. Yeah,
I'm down. We can make some butter, some cookies, But I love teaching people how to do things. On their own. Being self-sufficient is important because, again, coming from the dispensary that I first worked at, the prices were high for people who are on a fixed income. Mm-hmm. So if you teach someone to support themselves and be self-sufficient instead of spending all their money, and that was a big thing for me. Like I understand that, especially in today's economy, but generally speaking, people who are sick don't have a high income. No, they're sick.
They can't focus on that. Even if you have money, you're taking care of so many other things. You're not working. You're paying mortgages or rents or whatever it might be. Yeah, and that's why it's so incredibly needed, right?
Yeah, I totally. That's why it was so important to me. So baking classes were great. I'd rent out like community centers, their kitchens, just tell them we were doing like senior citizens.
How do you advertise such a thing? Like, is it, down low on the grandma boards and forums and,
So I used to use before Instagram and Facebook were so anti-cannabis because there was no legalization at the time.
Right.
I even used Instagram and Facebook, and then also the dispensary I worked at, or the dispensary or Can Do. Mm-hmm. I'd also advertise there. It was more so word of mouth. People just heard about me and then more so contacted me. I got, I've done a lot in this industry, thankfully, thanks to other people talking about me. And I'm so flattered and I'm so appreciative for that. That's like, I guess I was telling you that, but like, that's one really cool thing is that this community is full of a lot of loving people. Don't let the few haters fool you.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know why I put in a lot of work, but a lot of people helped put me in positions just by mentioning my names in rooms I wasn't in.
But you were showing up. And that's the thing. And people recognize that. And Wes and I say the same thing. And part of the reason that we shine a spotlight onto those individuals is you're not just sitting back, you're not complaining, you're hustling, you're showing up, whether that's, to advocate for change, whether that's, reform, whatever it might be, you're showing up. And I think individuals understand that and they want to be able to support that.
I appreciate that. Being at City Hall, speaking in City Hall a lot was very empowering as well. Going and telling city councilors and people who run the city what is wrong with their stance on cannabis and how we think it could be improved was always, that was some of the highlights of things I've done. Yeah. With me and my bestie Tracy. Yeah. Curly and Marco, so many people, like a lot of activists and advocates showed up to these things, and we sat
Right.
there, and we didn't let them just push us aside. We made sure we were heard. We had speeches printed out. Like, we were not going anywhere until they heard us.
We have something to say, just so you know.
And you're gonna hear it.
And you're gonna hear it.
All
Yeah.
8 of us.
Don't make me laminate this speech. You're gonna hear it today.
We will. And it's funny too, because at this point in time, when they were asking for suggestions on cannabis, on enforcement and so on, and we just kept showing up and showing up and showing up, and every time we showed up, they'd put it off. And just like, well, we just gonna wait.
Yeah.
And that's what we did, because we are cannabis people. We don't time.
Yeah.
We hide. We just eating some snacks.
We're just sitting around. Yeah.
We're just chilling. No joke. I make jokes about lazy pothead.
Yeah, the vast majority are not that. Yeah,
exactly.
In my experience, they are not that.
I don't think I know of one like super lazy. Maybe like, when you're in your early 20s.
Oh yeah.
No offense to the early one.
I'm gonna sleep till 4 today. Yeah.
Totally different. But like, I don't see cannabis consumers as lazy people at all. I see us as go fucking get it. It's like, we even got this, legalization.
100%. I agree with that. Yeah. So with all of that work, I want to understand how, you made your way with SwearNet, and I think it was something around the videos, but we'll get to that. I'm more interested right now, even though I fucked up the name at the beginning and said Weed Me. It was Weed MD. I know Bruce Scully. Right. And oh, incredible. But how did you end up in that? Was it because you were already doing things with, educating Ira, or like, how did that come about?
Derrick Pedro.
Oh, fuck.
Derrick Pedro is one of my favorite men in this industry, Derrick and Ira.
For the record, just so everyone watching and listening, Derrick Pedro is an absolute fucking legend. He is the highest recommended prescription ever at the Health Canada level for an MMAR. And I think it was like 130 grams a day or something. And he had to prove, and he did successfully, why he needed so much.
Again, G status for Derrick Pedro.
Yeah.
So Derrick Pedro used to have a company called MMAR Patient. MMAR. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. I hope you guys can.
As you're talking about it, though, I'm recalling it. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
MMAR,
and then it led to American and what eventually became such. But
it did. So what he did was he was a designated grower.
Mm-hmm.
So he would grow for patients and charge them $30 a fucking ounce.
Yeah, it's crazy.
$30 an ounce. Now, when people are charging $300 an ounce at dispensaries and upwards, some were charging $15 a gram at this time. Like, it was the wild, wild west of weed, because there was no moral compass.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I popped up. But anyway.
The fuck, I'm paying that.
But Derrick Pedro, he, like I said, $30 an ounce is what he would get good medicine to his patients for. I would then bake for them. So he would drop off amount of product for me to then turn into infused items for his patients, which he gave to for free.
Wow. Yeah.
So, they'd be getting like 200-gram slabs of fudge for absolutely nothing. Like, I just want to point out how amazing Derrick Pedro is, and if you don't know him, Google him.
We're gonna make sure that everyone understands who Derrick is.
Yeah, he was it. He is the one that really got me into edibles at the time. I'm gonna try my best not to badmouth. At the time, the place that I was working really didn't want to see me succeed over being scared of me being too successful, which I understand, because
threatened. Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. Tough luck. Guess who's on the podcast? Not you.
Right? Respect. So he didn't want me conversing with that. And then Derrick just went around and said, you know what?
Yeah.
Here, do this.
Well, that sounds like Derrick. I like that.
Yeah. He's like, we're not doing that. We're doing that. And Derrick changed my life. He really believed in me at a time when I didn't feel and believed in.
Okay.
And he put me in a position to win.
Wow.
I don't get me wrong. I also put myself in that position with Derrick Pedro.
100%. Yeah.
So I started baking for all his patients.
Wow.
Which then led me to baking for Calm, which then led Calm's menu to only be me. I just showed up. I just kicked in the front door. I'm like, it's mine.
Yeah.
And I did that because I was very fair and honest. And that's what's most important to me is that, because I also come from the medical side, and Can-Do was a medical dispensary as well.
Right.
So again, as I had said, people on a fixed income, so it was just very important to me to keep things to be legit with what is in that product, and to keep the numbers very low so that people who needed it could have it.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. From there, my name just got passed around, I guess. I don't know.
Like a joint. We're in the joint circle.
I
think when I pulled up Can-Do, because I had to, as I was doing research, I'm like, Can-Do, I know Can-Do. And when I Googled that, did I see a photo? I didn't read that article in particular. Were you with Cartel Cutler? Was he involved with Can-Do?
Oh, he's such a sweetie. When we switched, I adore him. He's a great guy. When we switched over to Weed MD, great guy. When we switched over to Weed MD, that's when he became affiliated.
Okay.
With that, so he was part of the transition.
Yeah.
So Weed MD, we transitioned into an educational center for a little while, and to transition people from the illegal market to the legal market. And get people who need their medicine at a discounted price, something they could afford, and something that they would like, because I knew what was happening with my business when legalization happened, and I wanted to make sure that all the patients that had relied on me for so many years were okay, and I did that. I did that. It was very important to me. You can't just up and leave people who have relied on you for countless years.
And it's a horrible feeling. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Like, a lot of people had followed me from Kong, and that's a very long time. There's no way. I still make a man to this day mayhem cookies, which are like my go-to cookie that everyone.
So hold on. Can of butter or other infused? Okay. Is it the best
hot dog
way?
Water. I'm joking. I do, but not in cookies.
when you drink a Hoegaarden beer, maybe that stuff always reminded me of wiener water. I don't know, it stinks.
But butter is important because it's full spectrum, right? Whereas distillate is THC, and we need all the other cannabinoids in which to give people the entourage effect, right? So that's why butter. I just, from there, I started just teaching people how to bake. I was like, hey, if you can't afford this, let me teach you how to do it.
And I think it's interesting because so many, like, go back to teens, and it was, a friend had a weed cookie, which is very rare back then, but it was literally just someone fucking threw pot into a batter, and it was horrible. And then, magic butter machine comes out, and all of a sudden we're making butters and adding butter. And I mean, talk about a shift in highs, like, I can eat a whole cookie. Give me this cookie, right? But now it's can of butter. It's like knock you on your ass for 6-8 hours, something like that. Like, completely different.
That butter machine,
game changer.
I come from where you have to buy a big crock pot. Get cheesecloth, get a strainer. You got to have some fucking strength in those wrists to squeeze that butter out too, because it all sticks to the wheat.
Yeah.
And then the magical butter machine came about, and many others, but I have to say that's the one that's most known.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
Phenomenal. I actually use their butter. They have a silicone butter mold. I use that for ice cubes. Works really well in a Yeti.
How big are your drinks?
It's in my Yeti right now.
Which you're
great.
You can absolutely enjoy no matter what is in it. So, I mean, you started getting involved, obviously. Derrick Pedro, we love Derrick Pedro, and his facility actually wasn't far. I won't go into details from where we were doing some things, which eventually became Maricam. But, so your advocacy leads with Weed MD and Can-Do. But in the early days, you were somewhat perplexed, right? So as the industry was forming up, Mr. Trudeau on his pedestal talking about cannabis legalization, he's going to reform the entire world with cannabis, which it's about the only thing that I can get behind at this day and age. But you were big on being careful about corporate cannabis, right? We're not sure. It wasn't that you were full stance against it. It was, we don't want to see it become a bastardized industry where affordable medicine is no longer available. Corporate just comes in and it's like pharma, and it's all about money, right? So, but you were very vocal in those days about that. What
still
changed, or right? And so because we see this a lot, right? We're connected with a ton of brands all across Canada, and we see the fuck corporate cannabis. And I love it. I jumped on it right from the beginning, but then I had to take a step back for a second. I'm like, well, hold the fuck on. Is not almost every single one corporate cannabis? I guess it comes down to how you're managing the company and what your compass is, maybe.
Well, that's it. It's your moral compass.
Mm-hmm.
It's really what it boils down to. Corporate cannabis is scary for a lot of people because we've trusted individuals. We've trusted like Joe next door or Tyler or whoever, we've trusted them with our health. Right. And now we have to trust these guys from Starbucks. What are these guys from Starbucks?
Yeah.
That's kind of like Kanye with the Lady Gaga and the camera. What does she know about cameras? She's saying, what does she know about cameras? Same situation. So it was very difficult at first when you got all these Starbucks and tobacco dudes just popping up out of nowhere being cannabis experts.
Yeah.
That's
throwing money at it. Yeah.
Don't call yourself a cannabis expert or a cannabis educator to the face.
Yeah.
Please don't.
When I need to know about lattes, I'll give you a call.
I'll hit you up. But it's hard, and I have to say, being in the center, it's definitely a hard thing. Like, I'm just here to educate you on cannabis. Do you know what THC is? And I'm like, no, girl, tell me all about it.
Yeah.
But corporate cannabis, and that's kind of what it became. The good thing was that it didn't bring education. Someone should think I'm anti-education. Pro-education.
Oh, 100%.
But I'm not pro everyone and their mom all of a sudden now they're an educator. Right. You need to actually have the knowledge in which to educate with. And that's where things got a little twisted and heated when legalization happened because now everyone's an expert.
Right.
I smoked one joint. I know everything.
Yeah. I read one pamphlet. Yeah.
I'm a fucking genius. It's 10,000 hours of work right there. So it became a little hard for people to trust. Because now everyone's an expert. Not just like 20 people that, everyone kind of just knew before that were underground. Now there's 5,000 of them. And who do you trust? Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of new doctors' clinics that came up. And they would only sign if you got medicine from this LP. Which is totally
those
not
early days. Where are you going to register your script? And we were talking about this week with Glenn Coyle, right? So Army veteran, early days, every vet thought, I can't move my prescription or I can't move my medical registration. And that wasn't the case. It's just you weren't being informed or split a script. Oh, sorry. I always call it a script.
Splitting of scripts. That was unheard of, even though it was totally allowed.
Yeah, it was really tough to click 4 more fucking buttons, right?
It's so bizarre how they did that. I'd like to shout out Chris Hillier. Chris Hillier is a man who went to Veterans Affairs and fought so hard that they gave cannabis a DIN number. Chris Hillier is a legend. Wow. He lives in Newfoundland right now. He used to work with me at COM.
Okay.
But I have to say, he dealt with a lot of PTSD from being a soldier. Mm-hmm. And he needed medicine, and it was expensive, and he fought tooth and nail, and he won. And I'm just like, Chris,
that's crazy. That's crazy. So it's only recognized on the medical side for veterans. Help me understand that, because as far as I know, we worked with Shoppers early days, right? And
well, no, it's now. This was back in the legal. But this was back then. No, it's definitely. This was before it was really recognized. When Health Canada had one strain, it was G13, and they were grown in a mine
out in the prairies. Out in the prairies,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I swear it was G13.
Yeah,
but
something like that.
So it was back in those times when it was impossible. Like. You want cannabis? This is what you're getting.
Right.
All you're getting. Edibles were not legal at this time. And remember when legalization happened? They still weren't legal for over a year.
1 year.
Afterward.
2.0, yeah.
What does that mean? So, house way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make no sense. But that's the government not knowing enough and being forced into something.
Right.
And that's really what they were forced into.
Oh, yeah.
This wasn't like, they weren't like, let's do it because it sounds good.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were back and forth and rocky on the ACMPR legislation for the longest time. And it took, actually, we were just speaking with Kirk Tousaw yesterday. So his work with John Conroy and how all of that worked out. But for us, we're like, we need to share this story. So many of our audience do not understand. They see you, they see me. We talk about MMARs and all this stuff, Derrick Pedro and Ira Price, and we talk about these individuals. But for those that are tuning in and really wondering, like, how the fuck did this come to be? It was all that advocacy, all of that court time, right? And having these judges understand, like, eventually it was a ruling that the judge said, listen, Health Canada, you've been fucking around too long with the ACMPR. It's time to act. And then all of a sudden, Cannabis Act.
Yeah, basically. Can we go back and talk about Kirk Tousaw for a second? Do you mind?
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about
For sure.
Kirk Tousaw is an absolute legend in our industry.
Oh, yeah.
And from community to industry. And I just want to say why. I was with him at an event recently. We were sitting at the same table in our VIP section we made. And someone's talking to him about legalization. And I'd like to say Kirk is one of the most humble guys. So I don't want it to be taken out of context at all. He's so freaking humble. But someone was mentioning the gray area, and he goes, well, you know, I also put this in my phone. He's like, well, I kind of created the gray area. And I went, oh, damn, we're lawful. Like, I was just like, fuck yeah, he did. Kirk Tousaw is the reason that many of us did not go to jail because of the gray area that he found and created. Mm-hmm. And I would just like to say that man is responsible for so many of us not being incarcerated.
Yes.
Like, I don't think people realize how much Kirk has done for us.
So much.
Yeah, I mean, there's many other, like Jack, like there's other lawyers.
Oh, there's so many, and he'll always put the spotlight on them. He's 100.
That's why I'd
very
like
humble.
To put the spotlight on him.
Yeah, and we're going
Kirk
to. We're having him on.
G.
Yeah,
we're
having him on. Yeah.
But yeah, he is one of the reasons why there is a gray area, and the reasons why people like me were not. Well, I mean, I got arrested, but I got let out.
Yeah.
Quite quickly too. So yeah, I have to say, like, a lot of us, in fact, almost the industry owes a thanks to that group of lawyers that fought for us during the MMAR times, during the MMPR, during the raids,
Mike
during
Allard days. Yeah, just so much going on.
Allard, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So like, I just think they deserve a little credit.
And that's
why
we're doing what we do, right? We want to capture these stories, and I one of these days I have to, roll back the tape and understand who it was that said this to us. But we're capturing the stories of, because even though I don't know what the fuck year it is anymore, but wherever we are, 7 years, 8 years into legalization, 6 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years down the road, we're going to forget about the pioneers and the reason that we have this industry. And hopefully it's not just big corporate cannabis, and, the craft players are still existent. And I think they will be 100%. But if we're unable to at least tell these stories, where else are they going to be? I don't know. And there's many, it's not just us. There's many that are doing it. And I think that the more stories that can be told, we can at least have some sort of repository to look back on at some point in time. And Kirk definitely needs to. So does John Conroy. I know he's, retired.
Conroy. Hell yeah.
Well retired. Love the, suit and tie. I'm going to court to fuck with this judge today. But then, a little bit later on, like completely, and, no different than Kirk and many others. Intelligent, super intelligent individuals that without them and their work, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this. I couldn't
agree more.
Like,
I
at all.
couldn't agree more.
Yeah, we'd be my door would be getting broken down right now.
Like, we owe them so much more than most people will understand, can really comprehend. And so that's why I say, like, that whole group of the lawyers that really kept our industry out of jail, pre-legalization.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
I think it's incredible. Okay, how the fuck did you end up on SwearNet? Now you can swear.
Oh, that's fucked up. Okay. Okay.
Because it's not just the Trailer Park Boys that I think you're sending cookies to Snoop when he was in town or something like that. And
I actually went out to Nova Scotia while he was they were
the
filming
most recent Cali to Canada tour.
Oh, I was there for that too. But when they were filming season 10 and Snoop was on the show, I was out there for the week while he was there.
Yeah.
Just fun time.
Yeah, just hanging.
Yeah, basically. So what happened with the Trailer Park Boys was wild. At this point in time, I was very well known for getting people high and giving them their first dab, which is funny because I don't dab at all anymore. But
Wes is a dabber now. Hey, Amy, Wes is a dabber now. He has broke his dab cherry. I think he's almost exclusively.
And it wasn't with me.
he probably didn't know.
Just last week. Just last week. Yeah.
Last week.
I won't hold it against you or anything, but it's a little. So what had happened? That's really cool though. Dabbing back then. Okay, I want to just start off. When the first time I saw someone do a dab, I'm like, what the fuck kind of crack is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I no idea. It was in the kitchen at Com. This is where at Com we smoked all our joints in Com. We rolled Team Time blunts, which were blunts with shatter, wax, all rolled up inside, and then weed, and then keep on the outside with Manuka honey.
What the hell?
So this is what we were smoking, but there is this guy, and now I'm drawing a blank at his name because we're live, but he'd always come over, he was a dope ass dude, a broker, and he just came over with his little rig and his blowtorch, and he's like, yeah.
Like, I don't think you can do crack in here.
Yeah, I'm just like, this is a weed spot? You think? Like, we're serious about that. But, yeah, and then I found out what it was. So it took me a bit to try dab. I'm not going to lie. I went a little bit.
It's scary. There's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. You've got these glass rigs and these marbles and these banger boxes and all this shit.
Back then, it was just a fucking swing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, I actually have it. Like, I still have all my rings.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
crazy.
So it was a rig with a swing, and I did. So yeah, I did a dab one day, and I never looked back. And so what happened was I dabbed a lot, because I was one of the only females doing what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I was very fortunate to get hooked up with a lot of different celebrities. It started, I believe, with Waka Flocka, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, it started with Bishop Brigante.
What?
I love Bish. Bish is like one of my closest. I love him. Like such a great man.
Yeah.
But I believe I gave him his first dab. One day well, that story is the best. So I think it started with Bishop. I met Bishop. I met Snoop, Peter Jackson one night. I think that's how it started.
Okay.
And then from there, I met Waka Flocka. I met a woman named Lola, who was a manager for a lot of artists. And she introduced me to Waka Flocka.
Okay.
And so I started serving him when he was in town. And then just word of mouth spread, you know, the Chicago gangsters know who I am all of a sudden, and they're in town. ASAP, you know, and it's like, it was a wild time. Again, I was very openly doing what I did.
Right.
Because the stigma is not there's no stigma for me anymore at this point, you know? So it just came word of mouth that people knew who I was. So Sam came about. He was in town. I was working at somewhere, I don't know. And someone said, you need to go meet Amy. So they hit me up. They're like, can you come to your desk and do his first dab? I'm like, of course. Let me get it ready. You know, and I'm a big fan of the Trailer Park Boys. So I was like, this is fucking dope. You know?
Yeah.
He came to my desk. He gave me his first dab. I have a picture of it somewhere. I'll try to find it for you guys.
Let's see.
And he, wow. Like, I can't make what. But then he's like, okay, I gotta go. Like, he had to go home. I'm like, are you good? He's like, I'm good. I'm good. He's a grown-ass man. I'm a small woman at this point. And I was like, all right, he's good. He said so. Well, he got lost on his way home to Bell at the bus stop.
No.
And didn't know where he was super fucking high. And he was like, I said, I'm selling this to the boys. So he called the boys up. I met this girl named Amy. And I think we should do the show with her.
Yeah.
So they bid, I guess.
Okay.
And we started doing High Fuckers.
High
So
Fuckers. That's
was
it.
filmed in my living room, just around this corner.
Really? Okay.
We started filming in my living room. We filmed a couple episodes at Planet Paradise and also at Vape on the Lake, which is a great vape lounge that used to be around owned by my friends. So we started doing that. And at one point, you know, it was the show started leading to, because I'm very serious when it comes to medical cannabis. You know, at one point, the show was leading into a bit of a direction that wasn't as good for my branding for medical cannabis. I loved the show. It was not the boy. It was none of this. It was just just the content of it.
Yeah.
So I decided that I didn't think it was the best idea to do anymore. You know, part of it was that like Sam got really sick and he was vomiting in my kid's garbage pail, and we just couldn't do that with cannabis. You know, like we played a game called Bingo Bango Bongo, and he drank. It was a bingo game, smoking weed.
Yeah.
And he drank way too much milk beforehand.
Oh no.
And he got ill. So I was like, this isn't good because I'm on the medical side. So what we did is we stopped filming that show. And then I started filming my own show.
Okay.
They hired me to do a show called Cannabis. So then I did a show for the Trevor Boys on cannabis, which stopped just before COVID, Lily.
Okay.
We did it for many years, and you have a couple seasons of it. And it was just me going to different events, talking about cannabis, and educating people on different strains, people in the industry, different gear and things like that. So that's available
so cool.
on the Trailer Park Boys SwearNet.
SwearNet. It's only $2 a month.
And yeah, it used to be $4.20, so $2 is pretty good.
Wow.
I also used to be on the Dean Blundell show. That's what really kind of got me started.
There's a name I haven't heard in a while.
But so the Dean Blundell show, my ex-husband, great man, I'd like to add, we're homies, he's dope with a kid together. We were my high school sweetheart, so you gotta be friends. But he actually called the Dean Blundell show one day while I was on my way to work, and he's like, you need to check out my wife. Like, you need to meet her. And they're like, what? At this time, I believe I had like a website. And they went and looked it up. They're like, can she come in tomorrow?
Wow.
So
that's cool.
He called me right away and he's like, can you go here tomorrow? I'm like, okay. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I went on the show, and I mean, if you know Dean Blundell, you know they're very sexual towards women, and I mean that in a not in a degrading way, maybe some, but it was a shock job like Howard Stern.
I was just gonna say it's to get views.
Exactly, it's like a shock job like Howard Stern. So it wasn't. They never treated me like that, and I was like, this is so weird. Like, they treated me with the utmost respect, and it was just so beautiful. So my first time on the show, I just went in and told them about who I was. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was the first episode, but I got Derrick high. Derrick was blind. His name was Blind Derrick.
Okay.
And he got high to the point where he thought he could see things. I made grilled cheeses in the chorus building. Infused grilled cheeses. This may get them in trouble, but the show's over. So I was just sitting in the lobby in like the green room making infused grilled cheeses for the show. Like, it was wild. So
here's your lunch, everyone.
Yeah.
See you in 3 hours.
So Blind Derrick ate a maple walnut bar. And those are one of like my key things. I used to make those in Mayhem cookies and still make them actually. And so he ate one of those and thought he could see. And I believe that was it. I think that was it. They gave me a bi-weekly stint on there, and it was called Blunt News with Amy Anonymous.
Oh, wow.
And I would go on the show and just talk about cannabis. And it was like, these are a man who knew nothing about me.
And when was that? What year, Amy? Well, like,
or
years?
2014.
Okay.
15,
yeah.
Maybe.
So still so vocal about it
maybe
ahead
2012.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It was before. Well, it was definitely before the Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
So so way before 2000, maybe 2010, long ago. Dean Blundell got taken off the air. That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
For the bathhouse case. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Yeah.
CRC was not cool with that. But it was a great time. I remember the last episode with me and Kevin Smith. And I had a really good time. Those men treated me with the utmost respect, and they really, again, people put me in a position that just out of nowhere, cannabis has led me to a lot of great things, and that would be one of them.
Yeah.
So the Dean Blundell show, it started there, and then it moved to the trailer.
Very cool, very cool. And they are super humble dudes. Like we've seen some behind the scenes footage and whatnot. And the trades. Have you seen the trades?
I haven't watched trades yet. I want to do enough on, so I'm waiting till it's all, and then I'm Varner.
You're gonna binge it. Yeah.
Exactly.
We had Ryan on, the creator and executive producer, and you could imagine, but I didn't realize the work, the effort, the scouting, the organizing, dealing with celebrities, certain celebrities. He shared a really cool story about Tom Green, and I don't know if it was, I'm not going to talk about it because I can't remember if it was while we were recording or not. But anyway,
I don't think it was. So
it was one of those stories though that you're like, yeah, I could fucking totally see that about Tom Green. I mean, if you remember the, organized rhyme days and the check the OR and the vacuum cleaner monster in the pond, and this is 100% Tom Green. But I can't blame you. I mean, binge watching it. So a second season is coming. But Rob Wells is in it. And when we first saw it, number one, obviously Canadiana, cannabis, there's some cannabis usage in it. I don't even like saying usage, but consumption. And it's just it's a Canadian show with, celebrity icons from the Trailer Park Boys like Rob Wells, and Tom Green's in it. Crazy Tom Green.
I love that.
Yeah. So you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy that.
Yeah. I wanted to wait until I love to watch things that they're like 3 seasons deep, so I can just watch it constant.
Yeah.
But I know they're about to do season 2, I believe it is. So I should probably just watch season 1.
Yeah,
But
I
again,
think
I'm in a Varner.
we were dealing with their PR person, Lisa, and I think we had sent a note the day before just saying, "Hey, how's everything going?" or whatever. And she's, it was right on the news of season 2 coming out, and she's like, "Oh, let's do something," but I don't think they start filming until fall. So now moving forward, I mean, you've answered the questions that I wanted to ask, which was certain celebrity encounters and, maybe getting high with them, which you've told a couple already. But I want to bring us to Hashco, because Hashco, obviously a brand partner, very supportive of us. We support you. How did that relationship come about?
Oh, my love for Hashco is never ending. Well, I've known the other members. I've
Owners,
known all of
founders,
Hashco. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, I've known them from legacy days. We were all legacy people. So we've known each other for a very long time. And I have to say, like, we all have basically the same taste in product.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good way to say things.
That's a good thing too, though. I mean, what a way to have a successful company is.
Right? We all have like the same, we're legacy people. So when Hashco actually hit me up, it was, I believe, in the spring, and that I was just very flattered. That they reached out to me, and after a while, I went in for a meeting with them, and I saw their product. And I'm like, "Well, no, I start."
So someone say hash? Yeah, okay, I'm in.
So I'm going to be real with you. I will not stand behind a product I don't believe in. I'm not that person. I don't need to do that. No. And I have a reputation, and I will not ruin that.
Amy recommended this Kife? Unbelievable.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
But I'm very, so I was like, I would never, and as soon as I saw that hash, I was like, right. I wouldn't know I start now.
I think one of the coolest names in the industry too, as far as a company goes, the Hash Corporation, short form, Hashco. It just fits,
I'm like, what do you guys do? I'm like, didn't you read the name?
Yeah. So can I get my pre-rolls manufactured here?
So freaking funny. I know. They're like, so what do you guys do? I'm like, the Hash Corporation.
Yeah.
What do we do?
We build aircraft.
But what's really cool about, everything's really fun, cool about Hash. So we make dope ass hash. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's most important. Yeah. Our product is good. We're not just people that are out here pumping and dumping. And I don't care. They're out there. They're doing that. They're pumping and dumping in this market. And if you say they're not, you're the liar, and maybe you're the pump and dumper. I'll hold that against you too. No, but honestly, we've been doing this. All of us, our entire team of 4, has been doing this for decades upon decades. If you put all of our experience together, and it was a perfect fit for me. I absolutely adore and respect all of the other members of Hashco. We get along so well. We work so well together, and we all have the same ideas and visions of what cannabis should be, and what it can be, and what it is, or what it should not be. Most important.
Well, I was going to say that's the most important. Yeah, exactly. Because we see that a lot, and people don't necessarily touch on that, which is what it should not be. One of the things that we loved, especially when we first met with Chris, was just walking through how unique Hashco is in the world of hash, and how it relates to the history of hash, and trying to be traditional in certain process. I get there's newfound technology, and at scale it's very difficult to sit like the Moroccans and beat on the the drum, and sifting the
you're not going to get a drummer.
Yeah, exactly, right. And bubble hash obviously being different, and there's a ton of different hashes available, but what I loved so much was just the initial meeting with yourself and Chris, and just talking about staying true to the product and the traditions that formed what the product is commercially available as.
And that's what's most important to us. It's the product. It's not my story. It's not Chris's story. It's not Ty or Mike's story. It's the product.
Right.
I was at an expo, and I had I've never been invited back to speak again because of them. Because if they were like Rain Alameda, I think his name is, from Our Lady Peace, Kansas company.
Okay.
It's like, no, it's about the story. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's on stage. No, it's about the product. And if it's about your story, then maybe your product's not that good. You know, like straight up, I'm blunt.
Yeah.
I don't just smoke them. I be it too. You know. So and I don't even know if that's his name. It's very something, but anyways. But yeah, he was very adamant about it's not about the product, it's about the story. And you could fucking see the steam coming out of my ears on stage, like the veins popping out of my. And it's like they gotta let me talk. They gotta let me talk. Like I was dying. How dare you make it about you?
Yeah.
No one cares about what you did. We care about them.
Isn't that the difference in the cannabis industry? You can get any celebrity you want on a stage, and they've bought in, they've invested, if you don't have some sort of, I don't want to say story because it is about the product, but if you don't have, we don't give a shit about the celebrity appeal of your cannabis company anymore. I mean, all due respect to the Trailer Park Boys and Big Bag of Buds and everything they've done.
That's over
they
with,
have,
is it not?
I'm not sure. I think OGI still has Big Bag of Buds, it's called now, but again, we were Grow Up, I think it was, and Tommy Chong obviously would be there. He's at a lot of different events, and it's like, hey, what's up? It's not, oh my God, it's Tommy Chong, or it's Wiz Khalifa, or is that how you say his name? I don't know, or any of these, right? Whoever it is, it doesn't matter in this industry for some reason. I mean, it does and it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like we're not starstruck.
It did matter at first. When legalization first happened, it didn't matter to general consumers.
Right.
It mattered to companies. So
to companies, to companies.
Behind us.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to buy their weed. Well, they didn't.
Right.
They just didn't.
A lot of it was
I do have to say, though, I worked for one company, and we had a fucking incredible product. It was KKE, Khalifa Kush Enterprises.
Okay.
Under the 7 Acres of Supreme.
Oh, yeah.
7 Acres, did John Fowler. Really well. I can't lie.
Yeah.
That was a phenomenal product. But if it didn't have Wiz Khalifa's name behind it, still would have been a phenomenal product.
Right.
Without
and
the
tougher to
name.
get the name out. Sometimes I think one of the most successful celebrity, air quote, celebrity brands in Canada still is like Dog Pounds or something like that, right? But for the vast majority, I mean, these individuals, they end up at conferences and people don't care as much as they would be in any other type of industry venue. It wouldn't matter.
Not at all. Like, that's it. Like, at the end of the day, it's your taste buds.
Mm-hmm.
So just because XYZ thinks it's really good doesn't mean you're going to like it. And everyone's system is different, as is our palate. So what I taste and feel is going to be different from what you taste and feel. And just because of, I'm going to use, let's say, Seth Rogen as an example. Just because Seth Rogen is something great doesn't mean I'm going to like.
Yeah, 100%.
And that was the thing. So using celebrity endorsement was great when legalization just happened because people were scared.
Right.
First off, stigma was so at a high when legalization first started happening. So if you're some household name is going to recommend it, Mrs. Jones, who's never touched a joint before and is scared, may go buy it.
Potentially,
and that made sense. But now it's like, I don't know. For me, it's always been the plant speaks for it.
Right.
But then that's coming from me, someone who people look for my recommendations.
Right.
So it's kind of like.
Yeah. But you say you're very honest about it and say, I like it. I think it's good, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to like it, which is part of the issue. I mean, when you get large sections of reviews, that's completely different versus, a personal recommendation. So for Hashco, so obviously it's all about the product. We know it's about the product and making sure.
That's it.
What it like, I don't even like, because it's a smaller team and very driven. I don't want to put a title on, even though you have a corporate title, but what are you doing with Hashco now? Aside from being an advocate and being in the retail space and ensuring that bud tender training is happening and all these things, and is it difficult? Is that difficult when you are hash only?
No.
Okay.
No, I can do this in my sleep. Because I am culture. I eat, sleep, breathe culture, cannabis culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, and not the Mark Emery, Jody Emery, like the actual culture, not the name. Not the name. And so to me, it's so natural for me. With Hashco, I inform people of our products. I help them access our products. I help them with education. I hate the word education. But knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah.
I'm not a professor, okay? With knowledge, I do our event. So if there's ever an event that we're at, you're going to see me there. I do a lot of things with Hashco.
Yeah.
I don't do production. That's not me at all. So you won't catch me on production. And
Yeah.
But I tend to just make people feel good about our brand.
Right.
You know, let them know that we exist and help them out with anything that they need on the store-facing front and consumer-facing front, I guess you would say.
Oh, that makes
And
sense.
it's great. I meet
Sounds
so
fun.
many really cool people.
Sign me up.
Yeah, right? Like, I talk about hash all day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's my go-to. If anyone has an affinity for hash, this guy here.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh,
and,
man.
You know, it's cool because we have the hash kettle and the hash lantern.
Yeah.
So I get to smoke those really cool devices to consume our hash with and teach other people how to use it too.
Yeah.
Which again, like, you know, I gave a lot of people their first dabs. I've given a lot of people their first hash kettle hits. So
right.
I like that kind of stuff, you know, keeping people's memory, I guess.
Yeah.
But so it's fun, you know.
How many different hash products does Hashco do now?
We have our gold seal 1 gram and a 2 gram. We have a blonde 2 gram. We have a vintage hash, which is our year-old hash. Absolutely delicious. We are no longer doing the Origins pack as of now. It may come back.
Okay.
But we're not as the moment. We also have a single source key.
The single source
our SSK, which is amazing. It's GMO. What a lot of people don't know about keef, I need to like put this out there.
Put it out.
Is that keef is not supposed to be green. Okay, it's not supposed to be this color.
Right.
That's leaf. You're getting leaf particulars if this is the color of your keef. Keef should be the color of sand, the color of resin heads, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Resin. You know. So I find that in the industry, I have seen a lot of keefs that are green, and it's very off-putting, and it's misleading.
It'd be harsh, would it not?
But it's very misleading. You know, like if you're really giving people pieces of leaf particulars as opposed to just resin glands, you need to say that.
Is that their process that's causing that when they're
it's usually over tumbling, you know, over, and then you get green, and you can smell the green. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying any particular company.
Sure.
But I am saying I'm very, very content with our keef. It looks like kinetic sand. As a person who was very keef heavy pre-legalization, I made a lot of edible products with keef. Coming to see our keef and how beautiful it is just
the photos on
GMO
Instagram.
smell.
Anytime I ever see anything posted, I'm like, oh, look at that.
Right?
And it does look like kinetic sand. It 100% does.
At my shop, we used to have a thing of kinetic sand for the stoners when there was a lamp. They could just play with the kinetic sand. I'm telling you, shop owners get
We're going to have lineups
sand.
around the block. That's
you
okay.
will never have anyone upset in your
kinetic
store.
Sand.
They're just playing with the sand, get some sandboxes and whatnot.
Keep
with
me
little
busy.
things to make castles.
Yeah.
But gorgeous stuff, and the terpenes on it, like just impressive. You know what I mean? Our keef is well for something that would be considered, I guess, a budget product due to its price.
Yeah.
Very cheap. It sure packs the punch. And we tell people who are on a fixed income to purchase this keef, because if you're already buying a pre-milled product or a product that may not be as good as you want it to be, if you add our keef to it, THC and terpene, and different cannabinoids, if you add that to it, you've now just upped your product. You've elevated it a lot.
Hey, coined right now, blunt booster.
And there you go.
Inferior product.
Personally, I use keef for the outside of my backwoods. I use Manuka honey, which is a superfood. It's good for people with Crohn's and colitis. I'm not making a claim.
Yeah.
Just saying this is what the internet says.
Surgeon
Don't come at me,
General's
Health
warning.
Canada.
Yeah.
Don't come at me. So I use Manuka honey, and I put it on the outside of my backwoods, and then I'll roll it in keef. It tastes absolutely delicious. It kind of tastes like candy apple.
Okay.
It smells like this fair when you burn it because of the honey, the sugar and the honey.
Oh, wow.
And
Smells
that's
like
how I
fair.
personally like to eat.
Is that what the majority? I've always wondered when because we see these infused pre-rolls where they've been rolled, and I've never made one. Moon Rocks. I remember Moon Rocks. I'm that old.
I was just with Corrupt the other day. I was talking about Moon Rock and Caviar Gold.
Oh, yeah? Wow. So is that what they were traditionally using? Is like, can you use any honey? Or is Manuka, does it have to be Manuka?
Honey was not used. So what people tend to use, from my understanding, is it could be guar gum. It could also be, it's like a painting glue that's edible.
Oh, okay.
But most companies, from my understanding, they're using RSO or
okay. Like
right?
I was going to ask if they're using distillate. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, distillate more than likely. We used honey because I'm an old school blend smoker. You used to
Mm,
use honey to shut your blend,
right.
you know? So when we were just at the dispensary one day and I made infused manuka honey with people with colitis with
Yep.
keef, by the
Yep.
way,
Yep.
like it was infused with keef. I decided one day to put on the outside of the blend, and then it just went from there. And then,
That's cool.
you know, I worked with a lot of different like sports players and artists of all
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
sorts, and we all just smoked keef honey blends.
That's wild.
It was great.
Sounds messy, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that when Wes was moving into the world of dabs, he came back and he gave us a report about the messiness, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it, then. This is no way. You know, a little sticky, a little bird sap on the car, and I'm freaking out, or tree sap or bird
Fun.
shit, and I'm losing my mind, right? I can just picture myself like Christmas vacation, and I'm stuck to the pages of the magazine or something.
Yeah,
Um,
the Happle or the hash kettle is the way to go for cleanliness. It's simple, as easy, it's
yeah,
nice. It's
Think
exactly.
about it when we were using swing guys and not purging our shatter well. Think of how sloppy that shit was.
Yeah, I could just
It was
I could just
It was
imagine.
rough. It
Yeah.
was rough.
So
The
out of
trials and tribulations.
yeah, no doubt, right? And some will never know it. They'll never know it. And I
So
joke with
true.
Wes about the days of hot knives, right? So because hash brings me back so much nostalgia, which is, you know, the hot knives and remembering, you know, coil stoves, and you would have your knives in
Mhm.
there, but then you'd be so high you forgot you left them in there. And then you come back an hour and a half later after watching a movie and you're like, I don't think those are supposed to be red to the tips. Like what the you get some oven gloves, right? Like there's so much around it, and it goes back so much further, right? But what out of all the products, I know it's going to be difficult, very difficult, but here it is.
Okay.
What's your favorite Hashco product?
Ooh, favorite Hashco product would be our gold seal.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
all honesty, it's so traditional. It's so nostalgic. It reminds me of I used to smoke hash out of a chubby bottle at school. You know what I mean? Between classes when I
Yeah.
was selling weed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had me and my fucking chubby bottle, and I'd be smoking hash with it. So when I see our gold seal, very much though reminds me of those days.
Yeah.
To the point where whenever I see a chubby bottle, I'm like, look,
So-
you know. But our gold seal is absolutely delicious. It's got that chocolate earthiness to it that all good hash should have.
Mm.
That should.
Should. Yeah.
It's malleable, it's sticky, but does not leave residue on your skin because you shouldn't be wearing it, you know?
Mm.
And that's another thing about hash. I've seen a lot of hashes that leave residue all over your skin, and you're
Mm.
like, why does it
Yeah.
do that? You know, and so no residue whatsoever. And our hash is a two-tone hash, which just basically means the inside hasn't been adulterated, no heat has touched it, all the terpenes are still there.
Wow.
You know, so that gold seal hash reminds me of high school. You know, I was smoking in high school. Most of us were.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never
BTs.
smoking hash back then.
Yeah, you got to
so.
be doing BTs. Well, and the
Oh,
reason I ask is, and
Other-
it's very difficult, you know, depending on who we get on, it's like, what's your favorite product? And it's because for those of our audience that are unfamiliar with Hashco products, I like to ask that question when you can answer it honestly. That's what they're going to go to try. That's their foray. And then
I
again,
agree.
different price points across the board, depending on what you're looking for. There's some good hashes on the market, but I must say that out of all the ones I've tried from Hashco, there isn't one that I'm like, yeah, I won't go back to that.
Appreciate that. I agree too. You know, our the thing about our blonde,
Mm.
I love our blonde too, but it's very energetic. I call it the clean your neighbor's house hash because it just gets you
Yeah.
fucking
Oh,
going.
great. Yeah. I think,
And I already am that person.
yeah.
So do I love our blonde? Hell yeah. Does it make me super extra hyper? A little bit.
A little bit more. Amy, we need to ask, are you on that right now? Have
Yeah,
you
right?
consumed
And
that
this is me
hash
not on
right
blonde
now?
hash.
Yeah.
This is me on gold steel hash. I'm doing the gold seal.
Oh, man. So what?
But I see it.
Yeah, 100%. So the big question now is, because we have people tuning in from all over the world, everywhere, mostly in
Love
Canada, where are they going to find Hashco products? What provinces?
Okay, provinces. We are in a lot of provinces. Hometown, Ontario. So we are here.
Good things
We're
grow.
also we're in a good thing, girl, right? Right. And we're also available in Quebec.
Mhm.
We're available in Manitoba. We are available in BC. And we're also available in Nunavut.
Wow.
Yeah, and Nunavut. I know
Okay.
Nunavut's a
Any medical platforms?
Mendo Medicinal. Where
Mendo, shout out
yeah,
to Mendo.
Mendo. So
Yeah.
Mendo's a great guy, our great company.
Mhm.
Mendo, whoop, there went your car. Mendo distributes throughout Canada too.
Yeah.
So if you aren't in Canada, I mean, if you are in Canada but not in those provinces, then you would still be able to access our hash via Mendo medicinals.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, our hash in BC as well is not in the stores. It's available through Herbal Dispatch. So you'd have to go through Herbal Dispatch for that. It's not just in your general stores. But we're out there. We are around. We are able to be accessed. If you can't find us, hit us up.
I've even noticed that even in small towns like my small town, you're here, right? Smart retailers are certainly stocking Hashco products. So before we wrap, we've been doing something really fun, but I want to come back to one of the items that are very near and dear to your heart, which is milk and cookies. And it used to be milk and cookies and cannabis, but it's not that anymore. Let's talk about that. And then we're going to get into the fun thing that we've been doing where we ask you a question that was posed from last week's guest. They didn't know it was you. And then you get to pose a question to the next week's guest coming in. But first, let's talk about milk and cookies for a quick second.
Milk and cookies is my baby.
Yeah.
Milk and cookies, I started, this will be year 14 that we're doing it. So it's called Milk and Cookies and Cannabis for the Homeless. The name got changed to Milk and Cookies, or Milk and Cookies for the Less Fortunate, because of you cannot use the word cannabis on social media. So that got me flagged.
God forbid.
Yeah, I know. Oh, no, not anything legal here. And I also took the word homeless, because not everyone is homeless. They just may be in a place where they need help. So homeless was not a good idea. I wanted to be as honest as I could. How this started is one day on my way to work at Con, and I think it was 2010, I saw a homeless man, who had ripped pants on, jogging pants, and he was cold. And I saw him often, and then one day I was just like, I need to help this guy. So I went and I got him a couple pairs of pants and a pair of gloves and a toque and some weed, and he was just so happy. Now, I want to say I saw this man a lot after this too. Like, I followed him for many years just to make sure he was okay. But after I did that, I was like, I'd love to do this on a larger scale. How do I help people? Working downtown around Queen and Sherbourne at the time, I saw that side of life, and it's unfortunate that area has shelters in it, and it's not unfortunate. It's great that area has shelters to help people, but these people need help. And I wanted to be a person trying to help these people. So what I came up with was cannabis. I thought, why not? It's winter. Why not get together some winter essentials and give them some joints, And so I reached out on social media to people. I said to the cannabis community, I said, hey, I'd like to do this. Can you guys help? The first year, I think I gave out maybe 15 or 20 bags, and it just had a tube, gloves, and papers and weed. Now, year 14, we still, with help through the cannabis community, I'd like to say, like, many people, Machine Gun Kelly donated jackets one year, like his tour jackets. Kevin Smith donated money. Like, I've had a lot of great donations towards it outside of our industry too. But our industry is what makes this happen. So this is now year 14. And what we give out on these now is hat, gloves, a scarf, a jacket, like a full winter jacket, hand warmers, those things you put in your boots or your gloves. We give out tissues, toiletries, purses full of toiletries for people identifying as a woman who want those toiletries. And boots, milk, cookies, and then bags of cannabis with grinders and papers. And we do this every year. So this is year 14. If there is anyone who wants to get involved with this, please hit me up. I start collecting in October. I know it's summer now, but put it out there.
It comes quick.
Keep your winter jacket. Please do not get rid of your winter jacket. Starting October is when we start collecting, and December is when we hand out. And if there's anyone here that wants to be involved and help and volunteer with this, I would love your help and support. Thank you in advance, and just hit me up. But it's very important to me to get
We'll make sure that we're communicating that. We'll get whatever we can up on the screen, plus links in there. And we'll stay in contact, because I'm sure Wes and I will want to take part in that. I have to ask, and I don't want to be negative, because I've been there and understand the situation. Has there ever been anyone chastising? Like, why are you giving cannabis to the less fortunate? Like, what? And I understand. Well, first of all, I would say to those fuckers, you don't even fucking know. So unless you've been there or close to there, and I have, you don't fucking know. Okay, that's number one. But how do you deal with that? How do you speak off to that?
When I first started doing this, I got a lot of backlash from friends.
Oh,
and I was just like, "Fuck is wrong with you?" People in the industry who are pro cannabis and throw this, but I think it was because they weren't involved. They got a little butthurt about it.
Oh, okay.
And I really do, because later on in life, they became involved. I'm so happy to be
Okay.
a part of it.
Well, and I
Look at
wonder
me.
too. Yeah, look at me now.
Look at me now.
But I do wonder, because obviously, those that are less fortunate, maybe planting a seed way down the road, they might buy my products, but
Oh,
it's not
no.
about that.
No.
It's not
Oh,
about
God.
that at all.
There is no branding.
No.
None. I'm very, very big on nothing, no branding, anything. We are the cannabis community. It's not Amy Anonymous. It's the cannabis community.
So
there is no branding whatsoever allowed because this is not about that.
It's not about that. Yeah.
And I want to go back to that. At the beginning, people were because of, schizophrenia was a high on the list of topics. Oh, Derrick has mental health issues. You could be setting them off for schizophrenia. Like, when did you become a fucking doctor?
Yeah.
Tell me about this. So I did get hit. I got a lot of heat from certain people at first who were a little bit more upset that they did involve themselves.
Okay.
But a couple years later, all them people were involved in donating and posting and reposting and doing all the, you know what I mean? So I think it was just something new that people weren't aware of. And why would you help someone else when I need something?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it was. But 14 years in now,
So
I don't know.
crazy.
Everyone, there's no negativity that I'm aware of. Whatsoever associated with this. It's
so
nothing but love, and it just makes me so happy because we're helping. Every year we give out about 100 bags plus purses of winter coats. It's 100 winter coats.
Cool. That's so cool. And for those that want to get involved, obviously, it's not just about being involved and supporting Amy and the initiative. It feels fucking great just to help, especially anonymously. Right. So no one's going to know, Wes and I show up and help hand out, assemble, whatever we're going to put us to work. No one's going to know. We're not going to go live. We're not going to do this shit. It's about doing it behind the scenes and feeling good about it. And for those that want to be involved, hit Amy up. You might be able to find her on the internet.
Maybe. I do want to say though, we did record these at first, and I hate that we did that. And the reason that we recorded them is because we wanted to show people where their money was going, and we were actually interviewing people about their use of cannabis. They were all okay to be on screen. You know what I mean? So, but after I hated it. I'm like, I don't want to do this. So I said, fuck it, and we're done.
There's a tipping point though, right? Where you're trying. You need to build awareness, and I mean. The Red Cross, Salvation Army, everyone's doing something. The left hand may not see what the right hand is doing, but how else do you bring advocacy and awareness to that, to what you're trying to do? So I get that. But I mean, there are I've been involved in a lot of not-for-profits and different initiatives. And in some cases you can see they're doing it only for the publicity of it. And it's like,
we don't care.
No, you guys don't care. Of course you don't. All right.
We don't want publicity. Please donate your jacket.
You're getting this publicity now. So you want some, you just want the right publicity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So there's actually two questions. So last week we had Taylor and Dylan on from Oceanic. Are you familiar with Oceanic?
I am.
Okay.
Do you know that's also a scuba diving brand?
Oceanic? That's true.
Yeah. I have Oceanic goggles.
Okay. So Oceanic Relief. We'll use Oceanic Relief, even though they go by Oceanic.
That's a better name.
Incredible story going on out in Newfoundland. What they've done, retail, and just what they've done with the housing for their area and supporting their staff. But anyways, two questions. Both drastically different questions. Wes, what are the questions this week?
Yeah. So Dylan Beck last week, who's the master grower over there, had posed the question, do you think from a consumer's perspective, we need to be, is there really a difference anymore between indica and sativa? What is the landscape around that? Because there's a lot of people who've said, that's been bastardized so much that, it's not even important for consumers to know anymore, because when you get into the terpenes,
what a perfect person to ask.
Yeah. So
trying to fucking bite my spit.
We want your opinion and any sense of truths to that.
So that's question number one. I will let you answer that one.
We're going to do question one first. Do we have an hour?
Let's do one at a time. All right. We're like, what? All right. If we want to be real about the situation, sativa and indica exist. Plant shape. They have nothing to do with the effects. Effects are terpenes, right? So here's where the problem lies. Growing up, we were told sativa and indica because that's all we knew. There was no money put into research. We had no idea. So the ones that made us excited, were sativas, and the ones that made us lazy were indicas. However, an indica is really just the shape of a plant. It's a short, fat plant, whereas a sativa is a long, taller, wispy, more wide with branches that wisp out plant. That's really what sativa and indica mean. But we have somehow moved it to it meaning effect. So does sativa and indica? Yeah, they do. The shape of a plant. You know what I mean? But does it have anything to do with the effects? No. We have just made it that way because it was easier for us as people who had no research done on this to know what they were. So that's sativa and indica. What it boils down to is terpene. Now, this is such a new thing.
Yeah, what's a terpene?
So, what is a terpene? But for real, the thing is that now that we've got terpenes and these new scents and flavors and also effects that we get from different things. Like, for instance, I just want to talk about linalool. Linalool is one of my...
God.
I know. People don't realize that shit's it's in lavender.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I talk to specifically older women who really who do those like little lavender things and their little carry rocks, whatever they're called. Crystals, my bad, don't be offended. Carry them rocks. But I do bring up lavender because of trying to explain a terpene. I'm like, well, how you feel from lavender, that relaxation. And I explain that comes from linalool. I'm like, well, that's going to weed. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah. So explaining terpenes is difficult because we've never really done this, So getting the mass population to understand this is not going to happen in the next year or two. We can.
The conversation really needs to be shifted towards the terpenes. And this is what I've said for a long time, which is give me a 15, 17%. I don't need a 32, a 34, a 38. I don't need these. But you make that high and you just called it linalool. If you're finding one that's hitting the 2.5%, 3% terp in a linalool, I'm fucked.
I love it.
Like I'm in, in another galaxy. And that's all it takes. And I think you've made a very good point, which is typically we've always thought the effects, indica versus sativa. And yes, plant characteristics, even the stroma are different, right? They're somewhat different within those plants. You can tell, and we want to throw in, what about ruderalis? No, I'm just kidding.
Let's do ruderalis. Well,
but there are certain terpenes that are more present in the indicas and the sativas. And I think you've made a very good point that let's focus on the terps. It's not, this is an indica, because you could breed something and now it's a hybrid, but it's bringing the characteristics of that original indica that would have those flavonoids and those terpenes more present in the cushes, right? Typically we see cushes are going to be those indica type plants, but doesn't mean they're all created equal, right? They could all have different terps. So good point, good call out on the terps. We need to continue to educate on those.
I want to be real too. Almost like everything's a hybrid now. Unless you got like a land, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's very,
What's your take on strain naming? I've got to ask this because I've been going, I'm going to try not to go off on a tangent about this. I'm just going to write an article about it instead. I am almost tired of seeing, especially holiday season, Christmas tree Kush. Well, what the fuck was it? What's the lineage?
Fuck is that?
Jingleberry sativa. No. Did you take, what did you're just renaming shit now. Are you Leafly? Like, what are you doing? Like, come on. It's very frustrating.
So when legalization was about to happen, they were discussing giving strains like letters, like A4. Like A4.
Yeah, it's on the periodic table.
I'm fucking A4. Yeah. So changing the name, now people don't know the lineage.
Right.
And now if you don't know the lineage, you don't know what you're getting. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to smoke root beer float.
Right.
What the fuck is root beer float? Yeah. Like, tell me the genetics of that, the lineage of root beer float. So the problem with changing the name is that people are like, yeah, we'll change it because it's cool.
Yeah.
Or you're being very... It is. It's definitely, but it's also it's very misleading. It's not trustworthy to me.
Right.
I'd rather you call it a. For instance, let's talk about Space Queen. I believe Space Queen is Cinderella in '99 and Romulan, right?
Yeah.
Don't call it like Sugar Cookie.
Because it ain't that.
Like, it's not. Why'd you call it that?
But you know who it's affecting the most by renaming these strains, cultivars, is the younger generations coming in. And as they grow up, it's going to be, I forget what it was my daughter had one time. It was, I don't know, pink. It was a play on Pink Whitney, but it was pink. And I'm like, she's like, oh, it's pink. And I'm like, well, what the fuck is that? Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, do you have the tube? Like, give me something to work with here. Who's the brand? right? Because she knows 100% what I do. She knows how involved with the different brands we are. And I'm like, what brand was it? And she said the brand. I'm like, well, of course it was. That's why it's renamed, right? So anyways,
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Tell me what it is, or don't don't lie to me, or don't lie to consumers.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You're lying to consumers to make for a marketing ploy, and it's not going to sell your product.
And so many now are just they don't care. Hi, I care. We should invent a trivia game about strain names.
They should care. They should definitely care.
I think they should. And that's how you're going to truly understand it, because it's not alcohol. It's not anything else. It has a history. So let's stay true to it. Okay.
I agree.
Next question, because you get 2 this week. But you only get to ask 1. I'm sorry.
I'm putting 3 out there. Fuck that. You don't tell me what to do. I'm joking.
That's right.
The next question came from Taylor Giovannini from Oceanic. She's the CEO and co-founder over there. Her question is fairly loaded, so prepare for this. What is your solution to the black market as it exists today?
Sorry that I'm cutting you off while you're talking. My solution is to let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Why are you so concerned about the black market if your business is doing so well? Or is it not doing so well and you're blaming that on the black market? Do you think the black market is single-handedly the reason why companies aren't doing well and not their product or the people working for their company? Like, let's just call it spade a spade.
Interesting.
What has the black market done? I'd love to talk to these people like this. What has the black market done to you? I need to know, because all it has done is create the industry that you currently work in. You're welcome.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
that makes sense. And I don't think
Mm-hmm.
in Taylor, not in her defense, I don't think she's just wondering because there's a lot of chatter around, well, if we, because, I remember where it came. We were talking about, so she was very vocal with Justin Trudeau, and in a conference, and had a Q&A session and asked a question. And Trudeau was very, the industry was created to combat the black market. So it was on the heels of that she's posing a question of, all this chatter around the black market is stealing share from companies. How do you deal with that? Or do you let it go? Right. I think the issue for the black market, because don't get me wrong, I'm as legacy.
I might get you wrong.
Gets, right.
Watch your words.
But it's this. This is where I'm not okay with the black market. When it's Amy or it's Tom or it's Wes and they grew it, or it's Derrick Pedro and I've gotten gummies and I've gotten things from, when you know the source, that's one thing. There's a lot of shitty weed that has been sprayed with pesticides. I don't care about the profitability. I'm not even worried about that. I'm concerned more about the health risks that are involved. So you don't always know where it's coming from, right? And in some cases, we're seeing a lot of issues now, especially with some of the shitty weed that's out there that gets sprayed with diluted fentanyols, right? That
Who's doing that?
It exists. It exists. Trust me. So in those cases, that's where I have an issue, right?
Okay.
And you may not see it. Do I care about cutting into profits? I don't give a shit. Do better, right? If you're a public company or a non-public company operating in this space, do better. As Gavin from Next Fridays, I asked him straight up. He goes, "Fucking do better. You got to do better," right? Which is fine.
Yeah.
For me, there's a lot of, and I don't even want to say young, because it's just people in general. They don't know the source of their weed in some cases. It's not like when we were growing up and getting hash or weed and you didn't have to worry about certain things. Some of those pesticides weren't even available then. Most of it technically probably was organic. Not green tea organic, but organic. So anyways, that's what my thought is on it.
So
yeah,
I'd like to say that I'm not gearing that at her. I'm gearing that at all companies. Leave it alone. Not women. Leave it alone. And if you have a problem with it, I'm questioning your business in general. But also with your worry, well, we all had that when we started out. How did you learn to trust me? You learned,
right?
You know what I mean? So we can't just knock new people. We just can't knock companies because we don't know about them. We need to learn a little bit more about them. Then if we have an LP that had a whole hidden wall just throwing some moldy ass weed
Ceiling
behind
tiles?
that?
Yeah, and the ceiling tiles too.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, don't a lot of these legal companies
Oh
have
yeah.
such issues with TS? Like,
Mhm.
come on now. Why
Yeah.
do we have to radiate cannabis? Why do we have
Yeah.
to do that?
It's a
What
good
is
point.
that? We
And
just
it
choose.
makes you question. There is something, and I think this will go down eventually, is that as the pressure is put on the labs, because not all labs are created equal. We know this.
Yeah.
As the pressure and I think the spotlight is shone onto some of these labs, we're going to start seeing some of the issues coming out. And a lot of people are going to question then the product they have that is stocking their cannabis fridge, right? Not like their bar fridge. But I mean, it's got to come out here because we know, and I'm not going to mention any names. If there's individuals that know which companies are doing things nefariously, I can tell you that Wes and I know, and that's going to come out eventually. And these companies are going to go, they're going to go to zero if they're not already on their way. But you brought up a really good point, and I never really thought of it that way, which is we don't know, one, if the lab is we'll say on the up and up. I'll just say that on the up and up.
What
We
that's
don't
their
know
best friend.
Right? Oh, this came in at this, and oh, by the way, it's heavy metal and a test for this pesticide. Did it really? Right.
Yeah.
And we know it's happening. So I think, and this has been an issue right from the get-go, 2018, when we were talking about labs, right?
Yeah.
And trying to standardize testing. And well, I use a mass spectrometer. Well, what do you use to test? Well, they're all using different equipment. They're all using different standardization tests. So Health Canada definitely needs to move into this area a little bit more when it comes to that, I think.
I agree, and I also
disagree.
I think Health Canada needs to move out.
Well, I think someone needs to say, labs, if you're testing, test the same way, or how do you even guarantee? You can't
agree.
even guarantee.
I agree with all of that. I was more talking about Canada.
Yeah, Health Canada, just get out of the way.
They just need to
get out of the way
needed
altogether.
a middleman. Let's just go direct to the source.
Isn't it crazy that what are we, 1929? So we're damn near 100 years post
still have
prohibition, and we don't talk about this shit in alcohol in the bev alc industry, right? We don't. Well, was that beer tested? Tested for what? It was good, right?
Right. Also, kids can go in the liquor store and they can touch things. They can do whatever. You could not bring you a can of cannabis. Oh God, no.
Yeah.
You can't even see in a cannabis store.
No,
you know what I mean?
Talk about stigmatizing the industry still, right? We're just going to put up shades on all what's in there, Mom. Oh, you don't want to go in there.
Right. And then that kid's going to want it.
That's where dreams go to die.
It's so backwards. But again, we are how many years into legalization now? This will be year 6.
Yeah.
Into legalization in October. And to do the math.
Yeah.
Year 6. So, I mean, it's still infantile, but it's still 6. Like, like we are, we're almost at 6.
In certain points, we're like, we should already be there. And in other areas, we're like, what the fuck is taking so long?
I just want to go back to the black market, though, because that is such a question. I really, really hope that these LPs realize that black market is the reason these LPs are what they are today.
100%.
Because if it wasn't for these people, and myself included, and people from, many people I know fighting for legalization, being arrested, putting our freedoms at risk every goddamn day, in which to make this an industry, those companies wouldn't have existed.
And so many have transitioned. Many transitioned.
Exactly. I certainly hope there's a lot more respect for the black market, also known as the legacy market, in these LPs than is led to show publicly.
Yeah.
I love a legacy. I'm legacy. I am legacy. So how would I ever knock someone who came from that?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the issue is that just like all companies operating in the regulated space, not all black market companies or people are created equal either. So pick and choose, I guess, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
On that note, let's ask Amy what her question is for next week's guest. So you don't know who it's going to be. They may or may not be directly in the cannabis industry, but what question do you have for them?
How do they feel legalization has affected cannabis use? Has it increased for them better? Do you think it decreased? Do you things like that? Do they think that now more people are using it openly because of it's legal, or do you think it's just the same people smoking weed now? They're just doing it legally.
They're just buying more.
Yeah, right.
That's a good question.
A question I like hearing from people. Yeah,
You must ask that. So we'll
I
make sure
do.
that you get to hear what the answer is.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, listen, Amy, I don't know how much time it's been. We've had to restart a couple times, but it's been so fun having you on. Number
Thanks.
one,
I
we
had a great
appreciate you
time.
taking the time. God knows where you got to go. But, but
To
it's
my
been,
hammock. No, I'm
yeah,
joking.
I'm going diving. I'm actually in Punta Cana right now.
I'm in Cozy Down. Look at that
Yeah.
shark. This is just a
Yeah.
green screen.
But we appreciate you taking the time and coming on and speaking about your legacy, all the work that you've done and are doing with Hashcode. But it's been a pleasure having you on. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. For having me and Hash.
No, you're with Hashcode. It's us. It's us.
Yeah, I'm like, thank you for having us. I just looked at like you're throwing beside me though. Having us though,
Yeah.
honestly, like my heart is Hashco. We make some really great fucking hash, and I just really hope that everyone gets a chance to try it.
Hopefully they do.
Okay, guys, it's been fun.
Thanks, Amy. We appreciate it.
Take care.
All right, everyone. Well, we hope you enjoyed this week's episode with Amy Anonymous. Amy Anonymous? She's just going to be Amy Anonymous forever now. Amy Brown, it's gone. No more Amy Brown. But we hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week on Legacies.